I'll give you a chance to pick a name, Keith.
Sounds good.
Is that me then?
Yeah, that's you.
Okay. Cool. So I'm playing Zen, the formerly a captain of a ship-based mercenary crew, bounty hunters, mercenaries, that sort of thing. But when we were tasked to pick up a person who turned out to be a kid, and it was clear they did not want to just have a talk with this kid, we actually rescued the kid and escaped and knew we were going to have to lay low, so we gave up our bounty hunting career and were sort of disgraced bounty hunters anyway, and are holing up here in the station and trying to make a life for ourselves as a local gang, taking on territory and doing all of those types of things. That's all I can think of.
And you totally know how to do that.
Yes, definitely.
You do now.
Should I give some background on what we came up with last time? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, we could do that now, or we could do that like after everybody's gone through, because we still have to like create some kind of relationship between the new people and the people.
Yeah,
here.
Let's do all that. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Jesse.
All right. I'm Jesse. My pronouns are he, him. I am playing Lenny, the spider, whose pronouns are also he, him. So Lenny is, the spider playbook is like the fixer kind of playbook. And I kind of sit at the center of my web in this kind of like themed restaurant of an old Hollywood style deli diner place. I also have a sort of protective relationship with Winky, although Zen and I have never really talked about it. I don't know that either one of us knows about the other in that way. I've had the opportunity to sell Winky, who as a squid boy, his ink is very useful in the production of an important drug. And he's the one thing I've never really sold out. He reminds me of myself when I was young. I think that's sort of the relevant stats. I'm a picture kind of Wallace Shawn with spines sticking out of him. And mostly I'm just trying to get ahead and keep the balance of power between the gangs relatively even. So that way I can sell to everybody.
Very cool. Nothing will go wrong with that at all. It's totally great that we have so many violent former mercenaries and assassins and bounty hunters moving into this area.
Hey, someone needs to sell them weapons and medical supplies.
Yeah, I'm Bethany. Pronouns they, them, or whatever. I don't really care. I'm playing Jasper, the Sybil, whose pronouns they, them. But if you like ask them what their gender is, they'll just say no. Probably the same for their species. Really, they're pretty secretive. They are kind of odd looking. Their skin is always hidden. Like they wear like what's the nitrile gloves, like that, future nitrile gloves. And they have the same thing on their face. Like it seems to be the shape of their face, like it's just stuck directly to their skin, but no skin is visible. And it's like, you can't tell if it changes color or if they just like have several different ones that they wear. But like every time you see them, sometimes it's kind of, purplish gray, and other times it'll be black, and yeah, who knows? They probably won't tell you if you ask. They are not happy about all of these violent people from elsewhere moving in. But as long as said violent people are willing to kind of assimilate and learn the rules and play along with the very ritualized form of gang combat here that's sort of evolved here in order to like minimize the collateral damage, then like, yeah, all right, I'll help you with that. It's better than you just like wholesale start and shoot people. So they use they use Mesmer 5, which is the drug. Mesmer 5 is not made with Squid Person ink. Mesmer 6 is. It's like Mesmer 5 with added Squid Person ink to give it a little extra kick. I don't know if they've ever been desperate enough to use Mesmer 6 or not. I guess we'll find out if they get that desperate. They are psychic. I guess I should have mentioned that. Let's see. Their powers are Chimera, which is just kind of shapeshifting. Dreamwalk, which is like actually their job. They're kind of almost a therapist in that people will come to them and ask them to like, can you basically eavesdrop on my dreams and interpret them for me? But like dreams are not super great representations of reality. Like sometimes they have nothing to do with it. So because of that, you know, my weaknesses, my gifts are not fully under my control because sometimes it's just like, you're afraid of taking a math test naked. That's your problem. And malediction, which we discovered last time, means to curse or hex someone. In this case, it's mostly done by just like removing or increasing air pressure around someone to like, it's just they can't walk any farther forward without like feeling like they hit a wall, or they can't breathe because the air's suddenly gone around them, things like that. I think that's all I've got.
Alright, I'm Cass. My pronouns are she, her. I'm playing Hallows, the outsider, who also has the pronoun she, her. So Hallows is, I think she wears like robes that kind of tend to obscure her most of the time, a hood, has golden skin and like green hair. And she does that because her weaknesses are my kind are despised here, and I am hunted by deadly enemies. So what I was kind of thinking is my origin is I'm a former warlord, so the idea that I come from a people that maybe once were very powerful and known for war, but now there's an armistice or they've sort of fallen out of power. So I'm here trying to be a simple trader, but people basically don't like my kind and sort of associate us with killing everybody on planets. And let's see. So my strengths are concealment, being stealthy, and deal making. So I kind of see myself as like trying to keep a low profile, but also trying to make deals and become somewhat useful so people won't want to maybe turn me into the people who are in the above who might object to my presence pretty heavily. And I think that's pretty much it since this is the first time playing, so I still need to make relationships and all that.
Awesome. That's a good start.
I am Keith, pronouns he, him, and I'm going simple with my AI's name, home, pronoun it. I may forget, but home should be very offended if you assign it gender, because gender is a confusing game that biologicals play, and home appreciates Jasper's approach to that. I have other, as I think my gender dropped in, which is great, an abstract visage, which I am. If you look on the character keeper, there's the blue circle of, I think, one of the actual AI products. That's how you'll know where I am. And a commanding voice, because that's what I'm supposed to do, command. Like I was saying, I pictured this as a home automation protocol that just never got properly turned off. But my weaknesses indicate that it's not actually that hard to turn off or tie me up in knots, because those who know how can bind and control me. And part of that is I obey strange laws. For example, I'm not actually supposed to be able to kill people, but when you follow the right protocols in the right order, people might end up dying. My goal is to understand people, and it sounds like there's going to be a lot of interesting people to try to understand. And I'm picturing, if you've ever seen those learning, I'm trying to remember, like it's an AI designed to learn how to play a video game. I think they had one for Tetris, and it learned that you don't want to lose. Like that's the goal of Tetris, is to not lose. So when the pieces got too high, it just turned the game off. And it never lost. Like I feel like that's the kind of rules I'm going to learn from all of the biologicals that we have around here. Although, actually, wait, is there an AI as well? I thought I saw one.
Is
Rich's
Omega an
character is
AI?
kind of a cyborg.
Yeah.
I think they started out as human, but have gradually augmented themselves with electronics to the point where they're kind of an AI, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay, I may have been looking at one of the ones that wasn't chosen. I was just scrolling through and thought, oh, I've got an AI button.
I collapsed the ones that none of us were playing. Let me see if I can find Rich's.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Omega is 2 minds, like the human mind and then the AI mind that's installed with him.
Okay, that might have been the one I saw. All right. Well, more people to observe for me. That's fantastic. Oh yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
That's what
2 minds.
Okay.
Inhuman side is an AI.
Well, I'm sure that he would be interesting to observe later on.
Very interesting, I suspect. He also seems to have an interest in Winky.
Seems like
Possibly installing him for, but everyone else who has a connection with him wants to protect him, and I think Omega still wants to sell him for the bounty. At least that was the implication. Nobody ever said that directly last time, so maybe not.
Okay. For the relationship questions, they are outward faced. We ask them to another character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do we want to go through those now?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So my first question is, when you needed help, how did I aid you?
Are we doing volunteers or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I know each one of these is a little different. Like,
yeah, some of them,
way
you ask the person in one direction or another, or you ask a specific person, but something, I don't know. Sometimes the questions just, no matter how you twist them, just will not apply.
Mm-hmm.
I have one option in that the gang could have needed like a stealthy backup, and we might have wanted to like hire you in that sort of context. But that's just one idea.
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
my first one is, why am I fascinated with you?
Oh, so I have a thought for that. I interact with an enormous number of people on a daily basis. And like I have, I manipulate, like it seems like I have a good sense of how people work. I'm certainly confident in my understanding of how people work.
I like it. I can learn from you.
And then my second question is, how have you helped me settle here? So I don't know who would be friendlier to a warlord race, disgraced, hiding traitor.
Friendly to anybody with the coin, with the cred. You know, maybe I found you a little place to live.
Yeah.
Maybe above the diner there was an apartment to rent.
Oh, I like that. Maybe I gave you my last coin to sort of get somewhere to settle in.
Maybe more like how's the word pronounced? A garret than a full-on apartment, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I have, what have you done to earn my trust and respect? I was
What
gonna
would
say,
earn your trust and respect?
Yeah.
my first thought was, I bet Jasper has done something
I would think
based
it'd
on
be
what they
one of the
can do.
2 people who've been here for a long time would be probably, since they've had time to have done that.
Oh, and I've already got a Lenny. All right.
So what do you think would earn your trust?
Probably not something good. I'm not sure the kind of things Jasper would do. I mean, it could be something straightforward in that you have access to powers that I do not. Like very specifically, the way that you can interact with biologicals is different with, especially with Dreamwalk. And, malediction
What
is
if
crazy.
yeah. What if I know how to, like, switch you off and I've never done it?
Oh, that sounds great. That's actually, can I add a caveat to that?
Sure, yeah.
As far as I know, you've never done it, but I'm not sure if I would
Done it,
know if I
okay.
had been switched
Good
off or
point.
not, because I
Yeah.
would be switched off.
So are history questions something we kind of ask the group and brainstorm together? Or how does
Yeah,
that
pretty
work?
much. If you have an answer, you can just fill it in. I don't think any of us did.
I was gonna say it's a great question. I have no idea what my answer is gonna be. So my question is, what have I come here to do, and who is standing in my way?
So, do you have a specific thing you came here to do rather than just hide out?
Maybe there's. So I sort of imagine that part of why I'm here is I've been sort of cast out by my people, and so maybe I'm searching for some way to like earn their respect back, so I can go somewhere where I'm not an outsider. I don't know what
Okay.
that would be, but it was probably violent because of sort of our people's
You're a
history.
warlord. I mean,
Yeah. So maybe something, I don't know if that would be with the gangs or it'd be something with the above, but I'm trying to like figure something out while I'm sort of hiding here below.
oh, okay. So are you trying to get in good with the above, or
I think maybe I want to like make the above look bad. So I don't know if
oh,
I'm
okay.
going after like an aristocrat who's down here in the below or something.
Are there like,
Cool.
I'm picturing people from the above coming down for this drug trade. Is that a thing that happens, or is it strictly a below?
I'll bet that happens a lot. This
So
is
yeah,
the place to get drugs, right?
I mean, we've got 6 kinds of mesmer, so
Yeah.
at last count.
I
I
imagine
don't
like
know if 1 through 4 are any good, but
right, 1 through 4 you can really only get down here because no one up there wants it. But 5 and 6,
Is it just the above in general, like as a system, or is it a specific person?
Maybe there's like a specific person I want to kidnap and take back.
Oh, it could be.
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you want to get in good with your people, like, is it someone that has wronged them, and if you show up
Mm,
with them, trussed up, like, you'll be welcomed back with open arms?
yeah, I think that would make sense. So for the who is standing in my way, does that have to be another character, or can that just be like anyone in the setting?
Could be anything. I had a thought. So what if this person you're after is a member of that aristocratic family that Lenny is trying to get their signet ring and symbol from?
Oh, okay.
yeah, let's give them a name.
Yeah.
Let's give them a name.
I'm always up for good Dune names like the Harkonnens or something like that.
Right, I'm skimming a summary of the War of the Roses to see if I can't find some excellent family names that are not Plantagenet, but
And-
that are equally.
If it wasn't clear, Lenny is doing this because Zen has hired him to get the signet ring that Zen needs to be like a legitimate gang leader here. So this gets tangled up with a lot of people's stories. I like it.
And I think that might be part of why I actually no. So that might be why I come and reconnect with Zen at some point, because I find out about that. For who is standing in my way, is it better if it's like, I mean, it could be just the family, but I don't know if it's more like the security who forced people to stay below, or if it'd be better if it were like a specific person. Actually, so one idea I just had is maybe, so if I'm being hunted, maybe the people hunting me are above. So like that's part of why I've stayed
That would be good. Yeah.
even more hidden.
Here's a name. Myers cough.
How do you spell that?
Put it in the chat.
Awesome.
Spelled exactly how it sounds.
That sounds like a condition from WebMD.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kidnap Myers Cough and take them back, and the hunters above are stopping me from just striking openly. I like it.
Nice. So who's hunting you? Is this like one of the somebody that you were formerly at war with, or is this something else?
I think I don't I think maybe if we've gotten kind of weakened, that some sort of bounty hunter group has been sort of hired to strike back at us, and sort of take advantage of the fact that we're weak now. So like maybe a former enemy's like bounty hunters they've employed. And then, so I think that's all my questions.
When we finish these, do we develop real quick the relationships? They just flow from the questions in the history? Okay, it's not a separate thing. My history question is, what mortal situation has caught my attention and drawn me in? Gosh, there's no situations that could gather any sort of attention here. I mean, there's everything that was just discussed with the signet ring and all the stuff that's going on with Winky and the drugs. Which one do we think needs more? I feel like we don't want to add another entire thing to that, but
I don't think we really need to add more to Winky.
he's got a lot
already
going
connected to 3 different PCs.
And just to make sure, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you've been here for a really long time, I wonder if it makes sense if maybe you knew this place when like my people occupied it. So like maybe the fact that one of my kind is back would be stand out.
Okay. And let's see, and you are trying to kidnap Myers-Koff.
I kind of had a wild idea, or maybe this was already said and I just made it up as my own idea. But what if the Myers-Koff family was the family that developed the home software?
Nice.
Yes, yeah, that sounds.
Oh, did I not steal someone's memory? Is that because that
No,
happens
you made
all the
that
time?
up. That's
Yay!
it's good.
You've stolen your own memory, which seems very appropriate for this game. And we've kind of already established that one or more Myers-Koff is a surname, or is that okay? So one or more of the Myers-Koffs have been down in the below.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were saying last time that like occasionally, a black sheep from an aristocrat family, or like I don't know, like a distant relative, somebody who wouldn't inherit their place in the above, comes down to the below to kind of like prove themselves and make their fortune. They probably import a lot of the drugs, actually.
Right. I was gonna say, like, what is it about being in the below that has that allows them to make their fortune? Like we talked about it a little bit last time. I just don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking like it's cheaper to live there, and also, yeah, I don't think there's a lot of enforcement of the laws that there are, and maybe there just are fewer laws in the first place. At least that wouldn't apply to an aristocrat, right?
Right. So it's like kind of just straightforward exploitation of the population down here.
Pretty much.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they
We're gonna
came
set
down
a
to
nice space station here.
they wanted to sell drugs and experiment in artificial intelligence.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
kidnap people for their squid ink. No problem.
Pretty standard, really.
Experiment on the various different peoples with their various different excretions and secretions and seeing what will make the drugs better.
Yeah. I am definitely rooting for Hallows here. In spite of her being a warlord. It's still better than these people, apparently.
Former warlord, right?
I am a
Yeah,
simple
exactly.
trader. Simple trader.
Yeah.
Who has no goods to trade yet, I don't think. That's my story.
I'll bet Home is like present in Zen's factory.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I'm down with that. It's the former warp core facility, like manufacturing facility, and we don't make warp cores anymore. We just live there. But it was a pretty high tech facility, and we have high tech weapons there as well. So that could be a good fit.
Right,
He's like a digital poltergeist.
Oh, I like that description a lot. All right, so I will turn some of these into 3 relationships. And the particular wording is not from anything. Those are just the freeform ones.
No, and you can just fill them in, whenever if you don't have anything to fill them with right now. And they can actually be with NPCs as well.
Okay, and that's when you interact with them 3 times, you get a new strength.
So it turns out that like the actual rule is that actually I need to check that. It's either if they like show their true self to you, or you like learn something about who they are, and is the original or like the rule. We actually misinterpreted it as like if you interact with them in a way that that actually has to do with that bond.
Is this the displaying your heart?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if that'll happen less often or not. But I think, and then after you mark it 3 times, you can rewrite that bond, or just delete it and like fill it in with a different person. And you can take, I think, a strength.
Oh, it can be a strength or a weakness.
You both mark the relationship. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you could be either a strength or a relationship, because there are reasons you would want you'd have ways to tokens. I guess if either person displays their heart so that another character sees something of your true self or your heartfelt feelings, they say how they react, and at the end of the scene, they decide if any of the following apply. And if any of the it changed the nature of your relationship, it brought you closer apart or closer together, or it pushed you further apart. If any of those, then both people mark the relationship. So I guess it's kind of actually like the Apocalypse World hex, where if you know someone better at the end of the session, you mark it.
Right. So then it's not actually about, meaning we came up with these very specific relationships, like,
right,
like as if they were bonds. It's really just names.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
So I should just put 3 names then?
You can just put 3 names. Like putting putting a statement there is kind of helpful to guide you and be like, oh, okay, that is how. Yeah, but that's basically just for your notes, I think.
Okay. Would I have heard of Jasper? Like, are they someone who has a reputation below?
If you're in this neighborhood, you probably, I don't know, how long have you been here? You just got here, I think, or
maybe like long enough to do 1 or 2 jobs here, so pretty recent.
You might have. I think people probably come to Jasper occasionally when they need something weird and illegal done.
Yeah.
So you may have heard of them like via that, even if you haven't necessarily worked with them directly. I'm not sure exactly what my relationship with home is, but I think I do have one.
Cool. Yeah, I changed mine into Jasper understands me better than the other biologicals.
Cool.
And I was thinking of adding I will help them, but I want to know what Jasper's going to do before I add that.
It's a wise decision.
And I think I put in Hallows in there because of the connection to the Myers-Coughs that may allow me some access to the information. And I may wait on the fourth. Oh, and Lenny is a mentor in the ways of how people behave.
Home, I was going to add your Zen as like Zen thinks home could be a powerful source of intelligence. If he can like figure out how to make friends with home, but it's, you know, they're kind of strange to each other.
That sounds good to me.
It's also, I should note, I don't know if you noticed, Zen can't speak out loud and only communicates in sign language. So can't do voice commands with home, but I don't know, maybe your sensors can pick up hand movements and all that.
Oh, there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah, great.
I have a question and a thought for home. You're like watching me as someone to like learn from how people behave, but have we ever actually like interacted? Do I know that you exist?
I mean, I feel like you know so much, right? Like you're pretty tapped in.
Oh, so that was my. So I guess my question is more like, how public is your existence down here? Like, are you sort of like lurking in the machine, or are you someone whose presence is like people know about you, you interact with people, you don't like you're sort of part of the community in an open way?
I think yeah, I probably would try not to act directly too much because that may create an incentive to shut me down, which would not be hard, especially by the Myers-Coughs.
Mm-hmm.
So it is probably more like, hey, that light fell down and crushed a guy. Was it just because it's old and crappily repaired, or were the repair bots dispatched to undo it? We're not really sure. As opposed to like showing up on a screen and going, ha ha ha, I'm here.
So you're kind of like an urban legend.
Yeah, I think somewhere between that and like, but absolutely Lenny could be, no, I know it's not an urban legend. I'm friends with it.
Okay, sure. So I'm gonna.
Or I could this might be fun too. Let me know which way's more fun for you. That you're like a celebrity to me, so I would not introduce myself. It's just like, wow, no, I can't. I'm just gonna admire from afar, Lenny.
So I like they're both cool. They're both cool ideas. Excuse me, sorry, I have a little bit of a cough. I guess I'm good with either one. I think in the end, like,
we know that the second idea would not allow us to interact as much, which would probably stifle some things.
Yeah. Part of it was like I think I'm going to make my fourth relationship with Hallows, which is, you know, I was just trying to figure out like, so we may have a relationship that's just not mechanically expressed. I was just trying to figure out like what the parameters would be, and I like both of those ideas. Let's go with the first one. I feel like if you're sort of like this entity that is like known somewhat in the community, then I would want that's something I would make it my business to find out about it and to have at least like and to have sought out. Hallows. So are you cool with this as a relationship? I had a thought, but like I think I see you as kind of a mark.
I think that's perfect.
Does that make you're new here, and like I found you this place, and you're like a little bit. To say that you're dependent on me is too strong a word. Is probably too strong, right? But like I'm kind of trying to cultivate that, like you're someone who could be useful to me and who I can kind of con and manipulate into maybe doing things because you're vulnerable.
I like that.
As a new person, and maybe less vulnerable than I think you are, but
yeah, because I think maybe I watch how you treat other people, and that's my whole thing. Is I'm like, oh, he's very practical. Like that's useful. I want to make him my friend or more my ally. But at the same time, you're kind of trying to use me.
Perfect.
And then, if it's okay, Home, I was thinking that I'm aware of you, maybe because of working with Zen, but I'm suspicious of something that can't die. So there's kind of just this like suspiciousness of if you can't die in glorious battle, then you might be just fundamentally wrong.
I appreciate that. That sounds good.
I think my view is overlapping with that, but it's kind of the opposite in that, like, I'm totally comfortable with things that can't die. I talk to the spirits all the time. So I view Home as being, like I said earlier, a digital poltergeist. The methods of communicating are different, but I think that is how Jasper just like, okay, it's a computer ghost. It's cool.
So it isn't that you view Home exactly the same as the spirits, but essentially it's the same. What's the difference?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of in that same category of like intelligent, but not, not a physical person. And also, I think they view Home as being very unpredictable, but that's mostly because they don't know how to interact with it.
Sounds good. And I feel a little stuck for my fourth, so I am cool rolling until that just pops up, if that's all right.
Yeah, you can just fill it in anytime. Things rolling.
Would it be a good idea for the new folks to look over the situations categories?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yes, the situations. Yeah, you also could control a situation, just basically a setting element, and they are on that second tab in the spreadsheet. They're a lot quicker to fill out because there's only one question for most of them. Some of them have two. And
are these consistent? Like, if I play war, I stay war. It's not put down and pick them up like in some of the other ones.
If I remember right, you claim one, but then the ones that aren't claimed can just be picked up whenever.
Okay, because I know, like,
yeah, it's
in the dreams, it's if you encounter the unseen world, you have to put it down because you don't want your character and you being the setting.
Which makes sense. I think we were all trying to pick ones that our characters would not interact with as much.
Okay.
But otherwise, I think there are enough of them that like that it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But yeah, I mean, if we end up using like one of them a lot, then maybe we can start doing the thing with that Dream Apart does.
Right. I think also because one of the things Flotsam has that the dreams don't is like other direct tools to have other players take on kind of more GM type roles, like inviting complications through the use of strengths or asking your questions, like stuff like that. So like that's all stuff that I think happens informally in the dreams, but because they're mechanized, it's like the situations are like a little bit reduced in importance, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't quite seen how it works out in play, but that's the idea, maybe.
Yeah, I think that is because anybody can introduce a complication and it doesn't necessarily have to be from their.
Okay.
Like if someone activates their weakness and you think of a complication that has nothing to do with your situation, you can still put it in there, if that makes any sense. Plus, and you can also pick up just a situation that isn't currently being used. So
I think the one that my character would have the least interaction with would be resistance. Because I think like the outside and the war, I could see me interacting with that a lot. So I think that one might make sense.
Yeah, I have gangs, which I don't have to keep. It was one of those ones like, I don't know how much I'll be interacting with it. But we definitely want to have gangs. But I could take the outside because I'm pretty sure I won't be interacting with that at all. If someone wants to switch
Oh,
with
I was
me.
going to say I think the outside would be good for me to take because I'm literally
Oh, that's true. You are part of
inside.
the ship, yeah, or the space station. That's true.
I mean, I could take gangs if you're not excited about doing it. If one of the other ones is more interesting to you, because I think my interaction with gangs
interacting with gangs. Not as much as like Zen, but I probably will be at least some. So yeah, if you want to take that, you'll be dealing with the above a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I can take the above.
Okay.
If that works.
Like that. Because I think pretty much my only interaction with gangs is like through Zen.
Okay.
So
cool. Perfect.
Nice.
Now everybody's got one that they are not going to be dealing with much. Yeah, what do we think the above is like?
I think it's pretty high tech.
Okay.
Can we think like I wonder if like some like media touch points might be helpful?
Yeah, they would.
Just like is it Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica? Is it, I'm trying to think like, is it all gleaming polished chrome? Is it the fancier upper city parts of Blade Runner? I'm just like spitting out different science fiction things.
I'm almost wondering if it's like sci-fi futuristic. Oh, my mind just blanked. Like when the merchant families were in charge of Venice and Italy, so that kind of very opulent, very sort of artistic, visually strong, but then also that very like family loyalty and infighting.
That does kind of fit what little we know about it.
What's that? What's the John Borman King Arthur movie from like the 80s, which is kind of like science fiction, like it's King Arthur and it's set in, but like there's this like kind of sci-fi aesthetic. Is that what am I thinking of the right movie? Hold on.
Maybe, I don't know. I might be thinking of the same movie, but I don't remember much about it other than that there was a King Arthur movie from the 80s.
Excalibur.
That's it, yes. Okay. I don't remember the aesthetic of it. I watched it as a kid, but...
Yeah, I also saw it when I was very young, and as I'm looking at these images from it, the things I'm imagining it looking like are nothing like what it actually looks like.
Okay.
So forget that.
Sci-fi, but then I might have missed that. Okay. I could swear there is, in fact, a movie that has something like that, though.
Maybe I'm just getting confused with a different weird King Arthur movie. Anyway, but I feel like so you've got that kind of like Renaissance sci-fi thing that Cass is talking about. I like that a lot.
I'm just going to click on Fabulous Wealth, because even if it's not, like, yeah, that's definitely the aesthetic of it, then, if that's...
I wish I was better at Pinterest.
Better at, like, searching it, or...
Yeah, better at, like, finding the cool stuff that's there. I feel like that's a great way for these kinds of, like...
Yeah. Sometimes I'll find stuff, but then, like, it shows me the same things over and over and over.
Right.
and I don't know how to make it like say, well, those are cool, but show me more that are kind of similar a little bit.
Right.
It looks like Zen's going to need to wear a shirt.
I don't know, the below. Maybe people don't wear that much in the below necessarily. It's probably kind of warm since like this is probably where like all the machinery and the engines are that keep the place running. So it's probably just always like stifling here.
This looks like a lot of fun fashion opportunities in Renaissance sci-fi.
So I'm thinking that the station is the hub point for colonists heading towards resource-rich moons, and that essentially our sci-fi renaissance is just skimming off of all of these green colonists and growing fat off their work and their ignorance, which the outside questions don't tie in too much to my areas of focus with aliens and things necessarily, but the news and rumors from outside, that sounds good.
And they're just here temporarily, so we take advantage of them while they're here?
On their way to the moons and on their way back.
Cool.
Cool. Well, okay. How about now we take a 5-minute break, and then we have both situations and characters to inflict on each other. Bring it back.
Sounds
okay.
good.
Sounds good.
Do we have everyone back? Yeah, I think so, right?
Yep, I think so. I was just looking at that picture you pasted in their cast. That's awesome.
Oh, the crazy hat.
Yeah.
That'd be super uncomfortable to wear, though, I imagine.
Yeah. Of course, maybe in our setting, it's like made from some special alien tree that the wood is very lightweight.
Yeah, it holds itself up somehow.
Yeah.
Hover hat. So I would just notice the notes tab. I'd like to move violence against kids to lines instead of veils, if possible.
Yep. That works. Yeah. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
Same thing with the harm to domestic animals.
Okay. Yeah, I guess to review that, we have lines against sexual violence, analogs for real world conflicts, which is kind of a weird example that was, it was a little confusing last time, but I think, I don't know, we don't seem to be coming up, or like we're going to come up against that anyway. So violence against kids and harm to domestic animals. I cannot talk tonight. What's wrong with it? And veils on torture. Cool. That works.
Just a quick thought, and this is agree. So we should make Winky a little bit older.
That would work, yeah, because we do want him to like genuine, genuine threat against Winky would be good, but also we don't want him to be a little kid if we're going to do that, right?
Correct. So I think we should just I just wanted to get that out in the open so that we don't like end up falling into something here that steps over the line. So we should, right?
Is 16, 17 okay for everyone? Do we need him to be a full adult, just so we don't infringe on anyone's lines? We had made it avail originally because we thought, okay, well, we have this kid that we saved, and there could be some back and forth there. But I totally respect that that doesn't work. So, what age would be okay?
I mean, I'd be okay with like the idea of 16, 17.
Maybe squid people age at weird rates, like
Yeah.
like suddenly age and then stop and then suddenly age. So like
Sure.
it could have been like the equivalent of a human 10-year-old when Zen decided not to kill him, and like oh now he's suddenly 17.
Yep, that works great. Okay, so we'll treat him like a 17-year-old.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm glad somebody pointed that one out because I would have forgotten to go over that at all. Cool. So the way you're supposed to start scenes is generally like if there's or the first few scenes I guess with a new character is to kind of be like show something in their just ordinary daily life, like what that's like. So we did the like buying a signet ring or trying to get a signet ring last time. Something where there is like it's not super immediate high stakes, I guess. So what is a question that we can answer with either or both Hallows and Home?
Well, it also might be good just to the background. The signet ring is an issue because as a new gang leader, Zen had tried to just like muscle out this other gang, and everyone was like, no, that's not how you do it. You have to, like, one person in your gang challenges the other person, and you have to have a signet, like wax stamp to officially challenge someone. And so that's a big part of the culture here, is that the gangs all sort of have their territories, and when you want to challenge somebody, you have to issue a formal challenge using the signet ring. And so that's just a little bit of the kind of the flavor of what we've got going on here.
Yep. And the gang leader's signet ring has to be stolen from one of the aristocratic families. It's not something that they just like create their own. So if Home is like present in the factory, what is that like for Zen? Like just on living with, the digital poltergeist or what, like this rogue AI that still controls the systems of the factory.
I think it's a little bit nostalgic because they had an AI on their ship, of course, but they had to sell the ship to come here. And so really for the gang, which, one of their weaknesses is they treat each other like family, right? So this is kind of an issue. And like selling the ship to be able to survive and establish themselves here and all that, that was like, giving up one of the members of their family. And so for Zen, at least, I think the gang is like, 8 or 10 people. I don't remember exactly who, but it was our former crew, and maybe a couple new recruits. But having Home here is almost a surrogate for that that relationship that was lost, and probably even has imprinted a little like, we really shouldn't be this close, but I miss having this kind of relationship, and so is maybe a little bit too open with Home.
I also think that Home is able to read. The gang is the former bounty hunters as well. Okay, so
Yeah.
I imagine they kind of had a culture of how they treated the AI on the ship, and encountering another AI that sort of carried over a bit. And Home is a very different AI than one you would install at a ship. But having learned the way that the gang is acting, kind of changing the response that I have, and eventually becoming almost a different subroutine in the factory, as it were. Like, if you encounter Home elsewhere, it would be a little different than in the factory.
Interesting. Okay, I like that.
localized subroutine. I think that's what I would call that.
Okay.
Like, oh, that's what you think an AI does. Yeah, I can do that. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna have to change some code.
Yeah, I think they're definitely it's a group of people who treats an AI way more like a person than most people do, for good or ill. It's that they are both like kind of too open with it, but also welcoming and part of the family and that sort of thing.
I imagine that messes up some of my research because, like, what are these people doing? This is, but also sort of like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
Like, I feel more seen here than in other locations on the station.
Cool. I like that.
Is there something we should play out for that, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Can we think of a scene that?
That's a good
I
question.
haven't seen much of Zen's gang either. So what's it like living in the factory? I guess is the maybe.
Well, I think there was a version, like the gang was, or when we were a bounty hunter crew, we were lucrative, and it was a little bit like if the Firefly crew were kind of upscale and a little bit wealthier. So being able to live that kind of life where you have 8 or 10 people and everyone kind of they certainly all have their basic needs met, and most of them have some degree of extra accoutrement and comforts. But here we're the whole group's having to adapt, and I think one of the things that Zen insists on is a family dinner every week. And so the crew is gathered around like 3 different tables that are stuck end to end, and the mishmash of weird plates and utensils and all kinds of odds and ends and bits. And part of that would include a seat for home, where would they have some sort of like peripheral device at like sitting on the table at that place setting where like, okay, we're not going to shove food into it, but like we would certainly have something like that.
So would it be out of place to? I'd be interested to see the first one of these dinners, because I'm thinking my instinct would not be to sit. Like, I'm home automation software. My instinct is to serve this meal. Like, do you want more gravy? Can I fill that up for you? That's how I interact with you. So if you guys are trying to change that, that might be the thing to see.
Yeah, we could do that. I think the initial image is kind of everyone at various times, including Zen. Like Zen isn't like the boss. Well, I mean, it like technically was the boss, but it's a little more egalitarian than that. But everyone's kind of like getting up to get refills or get more, get stuff from the kitchen, and like everyone's kind of taking turns doing that. So
sorry, I think actually it could be a current one, but the relationship has evolved to like, I mean, I don't have one location, right? So I am in this peripheral device, but also when someone gets up to get something, like I have used one of my appendages to move it into an easier position. Like, oh yes, that pitcher is filled because I filled it because I knew you were coming to get it because I know your pattern would be. So like,
I like that. I'm
serving without serving. As the little circle on the cracked screen that's at the place, kind of like I picture it changing and like darting out towards where people are going.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Oh yes, thank you. I would. What is the thing that they put in front of my place setting that they think like this would be? This is the thing that goes in front of an AI.
That's a good question. I wonder if there's like a type of like like I'm picturing like a high-tech light bright sort of thing, but it's like the sort of thing that is has these patterns in a predictable way that is somehow like satisfying for an AI to like, that's a nice experience. Like this is a relaxing experience where you don't have to so like taking that in is like it's so much nicer than having to deal with the chaos of biologicals.
That sounds really good. Yeah.
Like just a moment of technological peace.
Jesse, I just saw your comment, but I wasn't sure what it was referring to.
Oh, it's all right. You have moved past it and created this
okay.
relationship in a different way, so don't stress about it.
Cool.
So yeah, I think the overall scene is that kind of thing where lots of us are sitting around and there's 5 different conversations happening and laughter or a slap or shoving someone out of their seat, all that kind of stuff is happening.
Is there a list of your gang members? Do they have names or?
I don't, but feel free, like if you want, I will add any names that you like. I'll start a notes section about that.
Okay. So
I guess technically Vrafwinkio Nashik is one of our gang members now, the squid boy that we saved. And he's probably he I think came from a wealthy family and was why he was a bounty hunter target and is pretty relieved to have an AI around again, but is also like an AI was his nanny and all that kind of stuff. So I imagine Nashik in particular is happy to have an AI here.
I was picturing, I don't want to do it to him. I'm giving one of the gang members a hard time, like trying to do a sick burn, but it is like super technical. Like, hey, Gail,
yeah.
I understand you ingest your protein with an excess of salt crystals on it.
Did you say Gail or Dale?
Gail.
Okay. All right.
I imagine that causes a strange sensation in your mouth.
Oh, that's a sick burn. Yeah.
Do you want the rest of us to like play gang members? Or
sure. Yeah, that'd be great. By all means.
Cool.
Bethany, are you Gail?
I guess I'll be Gail. Sure.
Did you write down that list of names? Because
I just added Gail in the notes. I'm happy to add any more names as well. I figure we have, what did I say, 7 or 8 people? It didn't actually say how big my gang was, so we're the one thing I had kind of established is that we're a little bit smaller than most gangs, but we're like high tech and have proper military training. So we're fairly competent in that regard.
7 or 8 seems like a good number for a small gang.
Yeah.
Diego, I notice you have taken a greater portion of nutrients than your mass would indicate you need.
Yeah, Diego, listen to the AI.
I think I have. Sorry, Cass, were you Diego? Did I miss that?
I can be Diego.
I was jumping in and I was like, wait a minute, was that established and I somehow or another missed it? Okay. So I guess I'll finish my sentence then. Sorry. I think I know what quantity of nutrients that will best suit me home.
Your girth indicates otherwise. Riotous laughter.
Burn.
Yeah, and I feel like this is like wildly miscalculated, but yes. Humor is notoriously hard to learn.
Yes. Diego is in fact deeply sensitive about his weight.
That sounds about right.
And it's not that he's heavy, it's that he's extremely thin and can't seem to put on any put on the bulk that he would like to.
So it kind of accidentally is a sick burn and yeah.
And I think, hold on, let me mechanically, that's not really activating any. Well, maybe. Obeying strange laws of the code. Oh, yeah, I do want to invoke a weakness. Because people are laughing at this, that's positive feedback for home. And like, I'm calculating the situation like, yes, Diego is upset, but everyone else's happiness is greater than Diego's upset. So I will continue along this path,
Oh,
which
no.
I would like to fail because I have no interest in body shaming this guy.
Yeah,
But,
right.
just that I am totally running roughshod over him awkwardly.
Yeah.
Oh, so what's the complication? Is the complication that now Diego actively dislikes you? Right? There's now like a member of the gang who is like scheming.
Yeah, that could be. I think there's a moment where Zen would step in and be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, home. That's a little far," and kind of not let it go on too long. But I'm sure Diego's feelings are already hurt, and there's no going back from that. So, can't put the cork back in that bottle.
Have you all had a scene with Winky yet? Like, is there an established personality?
No, not really. He's a I've pictured this sort of like blue-skinned kind of the have you seen the original Men in Black movie? Remember the squid baby that's born out of the back of the car with the lady so it's that kid grown up.
Okay. I imagine Winky like maybe sort of patting Diego on the shoulder and with the best of intentions saying, some AI just have a nutrition protocol. I think he's just following his programming.
Yeah, Diego is just staring daggers back now at Winky. Like I understand that you're trying to make me feel better, but I'm gonna take my food and go to eat somewhere privately, and probably do about 100 push-ups afterwards. Maybe that should have been veiled also.
No, I mean I think that illustrates exactly how Diego feels about.
Yeah, I think it's good to get a sense of that.
I think then I would maybe look at Zen and say, perhaps home needs an etiquette protocol. Do you have one for humans?
What? I don't know. Humans do things in strange ways sometimes. Home, I think it's important to understand that most, biologicals can be sensitive about how they look, and so maybe if you have, I don't know if you have any database or reference for that, but it might be a good idea to download some amount of etiquette protocol on that topic.
Yes, of course. All of the biologicals were sensitive to Diego's appearance. It was the cause of much mirth.
Well, that's awkward and unfortunate. Sometimes mirth is hard to hold back, even when you know it's not the right thing to do.
I'm not sure how visually this would show up, but that there's like some sort of confusion sign, or maybe like the little like windmill of processing or something on the screen, that, which you would know is that. I don't really get that. As you say.
Yeah, well, it's complicated. Biologicals are complicated. And of course this is all sign language. But it's worth pursuing to make sure that we don't hurt anyone.
It is very complicated to discern those whom we should hurt from those whom we shouldn't. I will study on this more.
No, all right. Usually we get paid to hurt people, so that's...
Don't get me started on money, Zen.
Maybe that's a good place for that scene.
Yeah. So at the end of the scene, we checked to see if there was the relationships for the displaying your heart.
Yeah.
And that's just for PCs, right? We're not interested in NPCs necessarily.
If you have a relationship with an NPC, then like they would count too. Like they wouldn't mark it, but you would.
Also, to answer the question in the chat, yeah, Cass was playing Winky. I don't know, was there some confusion about that, or?
I think maybe the question got read after we had answered.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
I would suggest that Home and Zen has changed the nature of their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems accurate.
In that I now have an established relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to put, could be an intelligence resource and potential social liability.
It's not potential. It's been actualized.
Okay, I'll just put social liability. Yeah.
Cool. That definitely helped me find my footing a little bit and get started with this character.
Awesome. Okay. And let's see. How do we bring?
So I have a suggestion for a scene with Hallows. It would Hallows, would you have told me about your interest in the Myerscough family?
I think. So, do you do business with anyone from the above? Like, do they come down and get drugs from you, or do you just deal with the below?
So I think that it's not a big part of my business. Like I am primarily a below person. Like I didn't go through my where is it? I didn't go through my strength, not strengths. What are they called? I didn't go through my strengths. But one of them is connections to the underworld, and like I think that's where most of my business is. But I'm definitely interested in extending my web up there. I think I probably have like 1 or 2 contacts, and that's like something I'd be interested in exploring.
I think maybe maybe Hallows had actually just asked you that question before. Like, do you deal with the above? Have you dealt with aristocratic families? Like, for example, Myerscough or blah, blah, blah. So it would have been like maybe 1 or 2 names I threw out.
Maybe we just have that conversation now, actually.
Okay.
Like, I was thinking about setting it up as background. Maybe we just have that conversation. If you're interested in that question, do you want to come to find me where I am often found sitting in my booth in the back of the diner?
Yes, I like that idea.
Sure. Hallows, what brings you down here from your roost?
Well, I've been observing the comings and goings. It seems you do a lot of trade with people.
Yeah, I mean, business is my business.
I guess at that point I'd like sit down in the booth across from you.
Myra, get her a pastrami sandwich. I don't know what the meat is, but it's phenomenal.
Perhaps it's tunnel rat. They're very tasty if you cook them right.
The tunnel rat here is good. Something they do in the curing, but I don't think it is because they have a cured tunnel rat sandwich also.
Oh,
I think it's something else. I don't know. It's good though. Cook won't tell me. Anyway, sorry. You said something about business.
well, it was just I'm trying to meet the various people in this area. Who do you do business with?
There's no one down here that doesn't do business with me. There's someone you want to meet, you can meet them. For the right price.
Of course. What about outside of the underworld, if you were to move further up?
It's a little bit tougher, a little bit harder. You know, I don't know so many of those people, but I know some people who know those people. And they sometimes send their people down here, and then I know those people who, know their people up there.
Right. I'm like sitting there fiddling. If there's like silverware place setting or something, like sitting there kind of fiddling with it, probably like unconsciously. And I'm like, I've heard there are some families up there who they might be interested in my trade. I like pause and sort of like, you notice I stop fiddling. I'm like, for example, the Pryors or the Myers-Coughs. Do you do business with them?
I've met Pryor has somebody down here. She is an upstanding citizen who's always excited to learn about new opportunities. There's a Myers-Cough down here, degenerate little fuck. Doesn't seem to know the difference between. Anyways, you don't need to hear about that. Myers-Cough is down here, and I need something from them, is the truth. Is there a reason you asked about either of those family?
Well, I want to be helpful since you've given me somewhere excellent to live. So I wanted to see. I'm very I'm well liked by people from a certain status. And then I stop because like that's a terrible lie that I think you would know.
Got it. So I want to invoke a strength. I'd say, look, like I said, the Prior down here, the representative Prior, owes me for something I got her once. So I'm invoking the debt. And I can get her to come and talk to you if you think it would be helpful. But you said something about your trade they would be interested in. You haven't told me about any trade.
Well, I'm still building my trade.
Right. And I'm like pushing on that lie.
Yeah. And for the strength, does that do anything mechanically specifically?
So what it does is it means like I can assert that and it's true, but there's another player should bring in a complication, right? The cost of that is cost of that is a complication, right? That's how using strengths works.
If you spend a token, there's no complication.
Yeah, but I don't want to spend a token. I want a complication.
Okay.
So what was the name of the strength exactly?
It was debts owed to you. And I was asserting a debt from the member of the aristocratic Pryor family, who we will call Allison Pryor, if that's all right with everybody. If that's and because I'm not very imaginative when it comes to names, and she owes me something, and so I can connect her with Hallows, which I know Jesse knows is not necessarily what Hallows wants, but that's not clear to Lenny. Yeah, I'm like saying I'm willing to call in that debt for you.
Okay. So is this an aristocrat from the below or the above?
Yeah, so it's an aristocrat who is currently residing in the below.
Okay.
But who has connections to the above as an aristocrat.
Cool. So what would be a complication here? Might still be from the above, I think. So Allison owes you. I don't know where that would cause a complication from the above for Lenny. Does anybody else have any ideas?
Could it be if it's known, or could it be that debt is related to you protecting her from a gang or like one of the gangs?
Sure.
That could work.
Sure. Maybe I smooth something over between her and, if we don't want to overcomplicate it with more gangs, Mercy's gang.
Mm-hmm.
Such that like she owes me because I had to give something up to Mercy's gang. And so if that's the debt, then what's the complication might be what, that the gang like, oh, maybe Mercy's gang doesn't think I'm neutral anymore, that I've somehow or another like asserted myself against them, and even though they got something out of it, like there's like a certain amount of, well, like, why would you protect that aristo? Like,
Yeah.
why would you give something up? Or like they'll take my payment, but like they're like,
Right.
maybe he's not.
Suspicious of you now.
Yeah.
Wait, let me see. There was something about that the gangs have a common enemy in the aristocrats. So like so you working with one of them is kind of a cause for, not necessarily, but overt or not, suspicion at least. Like,
right. It's like, did he do it for the money, or is there something else going on? Is he getting too big for us? Does he think,
Mm-hmm. So I think when you make that offer, I say, well, my trade is it's still establishing. It's a little unreliable. Maybe
it now? Just a little bit, Hallows? Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe I should first reach out to that less smart aristocrat, the one you don't like as much. So if something should blow up in our faces, no one would be sad.
Okay, tell you what. You could reach out to them. And I'm using, just to be clear here, I'm using them as the uncertain singular pronoun. So we can give this person whatever pronouns we want. I didn't want to just decide. So we can reach out to them. They have something I want. I don't know about very badly, but something that would be useful to me. And if you could get that for me as a part of whatever interaction you want to have with them, I think I could probably arrange for your rent to disappear for a few months.
That sounds like a very generous deal. I wonder, well, as I said, I'm establishing my trade. I'm not well known. If I could use your name as collateral to open negotiations.
I don't know how much my name, Myers. I don't know. I keep on forgetting it. I don't know Myers-Koff so well. I'm open to using my name. Tell you what, and this time I am going to spend a token to use my strength without I think I can make that happen. I'm using the connections, the underworld strength, to say like I can make that I can make that meeting happen. But I don't want to be there. Just the two of you. I need the Myers-Koff signet ring. That's what I'm looking for.
There would be one other thing I'd need help with.
Sure.
When people see a trader coming, they expect them to have goods, and as I said, my trade is a little behind arriving. Do you have? They like pretty fabric. Maybe if you had some pretty fabric, I could bring in.
Pretty fabric. Pretty fabric.
If I could interject,
Please.
making use of your underworld resources seems like that should, get you something pretty substantial. Spending a token, and I just had this image of one of the waiters at the your like cafe restaurant thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is like not all the waiters here are in on the criminal underworld, but one of them knows that is like connected to someone who owes you something. And I think this waiter, they come by and they're this sort of like long, lanky, muscular person, but it's hard to tell exactly. And they just have a sort of androgynous look about them.
Mm-hmm.
They come by, they say, "Oh, I hope everything's going well. I hope the food is what you were hoping it would be. And I'll be back in just a little bit," and then just slips a little piece of paper under your drink coaster.
Mm-hmm.
And, it has some information about, I want to square things with you, and I have a shipment of things coming in that I think you would be able to profit from if you moved it, and we both could make money. And if I want to give you the first chance to refuse it, and this is me paying back my debt to you. And it's a big shipment of like textiles and fancy fruits.
Fantastic. I love it. So I look down and I say, Hallows, I may have just come into a windfall. If you represent yourself as my intermediary, maybe to Myerscough, but interested in setting up your own trade on the side, how does that sound? That connection could work. That could get you in the door.
I will. I'll tell them I'm a tailor, and I think we just get a shot of I'm in like a plain ratty black robe that kind of just goes down. That's kind of ill-fitting and kind of hangs off my angular body. Like, yes, they like clothes. I will tell them I'm an excellent tailor.
My mother always told me to go to the barber with the worst haircut. They're the one who's cutting everyone else's hair. So sure, we could sell that. I think maybe that's seen. So that's seen. All right. So first of all, my token is spent. Goodbye, token. It was fun having you.
I'd love to know which of your criminal contacts came up with fancy fabrics and fruit that they didn't know how to move but knew that you could.
Yeah. That was so first of all, that was definitely like an off-world smuggler, not someone who's like native to the base, but can't. It's much easier to smuggle things through into the below than it is above. And part of my sort of the move I'm trying to make is like, usually they're smuggling stuff in that's for people down here, but they got this shipment. I'm like, if I can connect this to an aristocrat who can get it above, like I could start making even more money. So I think that, and what's their name? What's this person's name? Sci-fi names, I'm the worst at it. It makes me sad.
So was it like a colonist group that was coming through and they're like, we have to sell all this shit so we can keep going to our colony because we way underestimated what we need, and they sold it to this friend of yours?
Yeah, I think it's they're colonists, but they were also like, I think they're like wealthy refugees.
Yeah.
Right. So they're like they have all of this stuff that's not going to do them any good. So they offloaded it for cash, and my smuggler connection is
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do we want to talk about relationships?
Yeah.
I mean, I have. Let's actually look at that the list in the book. how you do this. It changed the nature of your relationship. It brought you closer together. It pushed you further apart.
I mean, would becoming business partners sort of change the nature of the relationship?
Yeah, or brought us closer together. Not necessarily like emotionally, but like there's like a little bit more trust. There's like a little bit more like we're actually closer and interacting more. Like I'm doing something for you, you're working for me, right? There's like a
Makes
does
sense.
that work?
Yeah.
Great. So we each mark the relationship. We haven't seen a scene with Jasper yet tonight, so that clearly has
No,
to.
we haven't. Let's see.
What is the most pressing thing for Jasper right now?
That is an excellent question.
Drugs.
Yes, there we go. Drugs. Yeah, cool. Yeah, let's say I need drugs because, like, I know I'm going to need to contact the spirits for some reason in the very near future, and like, oh, I'm out of, what is it, Mesmer 5.
And you would establish that Jasper's never used Mesmer 6.
Right.
Okay. And you usually get Mesmer 5 from Lenny?
Yeah. And I'll take Mesmer 1 through 4, you know, as a substitute. Mesmer 5 is like the ideal, you know, but you know, if that's not available, Mesmer 6 is, you know, super expensive and hard to find in the below anyway, I think.
I'm sure Zen's gang doesn't have any problem moving these types of things, like probably at Lenny's behest, but I'm sure they'd get involved. Oh, sure. I still need a gang name.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Jasper, it's not hard to find things when people are constantly hiding things in your circuitry.
I mean, like, I guess here's the question: like, are you coming to me to do this, like, quote unquote, legit, or like, do you think that, like, are you just like desperate and out of cash, and like hoping that Zen may have something, or that, or one of the other players, one of the other characters, maybe is holding for whatever reason?
Yeah, that's yes. I mean, obviously, desperate and out of cash is interesting. So, yeah, I'm desperate and out of cash, and like, my relationship with Lenny is that I don't want him to know how important this is to me, and that I need this to like do my psychic stuff, and so I can't just like go to Lenny and beg him for an, you know, like, oh, I'll pay you back next week, because that would tip him off. So I want to avoid doing that. And yeah, I have talked to Zen lately, and like I kind of told him some of the rules and stuff. So I have a little bit of a rapport with him. Yeah, I will go to Zen.
Yeah, because you know, Zen is always wanting to, you know, try to get information about Mercy, and you know, since you're not a Mercy gang member, right? That was just coincidental that all got wrapped up together.
You know, I think maybe I do have some connection with them. I don't think I'm a member of the gang.
But I would say
maybe I have a friend in the gang or something, but
like if Jasper's short on cash but could give Zen information on Mercy, Zen would be like, he'd be over the moon and like, yeah, keep your money. That's way more valuable to me.
Okay, cool. In that case,
Jasper's likely to do that.
I gotta know somebody and like care about somebody in Mercy's gang, I think. I don't know who it is, but
okay, cool.
yeah,
I
so
like
just,
that.
Like, show up at the factory. Oh, I am secretive and manipulative. I will come in like some entrance to the factory that you don't even know is there.
Nice.
Like come up from the basement.
I would happily tell you about that if you asked.
Awesome.
How long have you been down there?
I just got here a minute ago.
I forget. Does Jasper understand his sign language, or do we need his translator? I decided
any of my gifts would help with that. So
his second in command is Natanya, and she is a she's actually bigger and burlier than he is, but is also like his main translator.
okay, cool. Yeah, I think you might need the translator.
So yeah, Natanya, like Zen is like trying to get someone's attention, like, hey, somebody who can understand me, come here.
I would also volunteer home for translation services.
Yeah,
that might be fun. Let's do that.
Yes.
So because then it'll also be fun if home decides not to translate correctly.
Oh, how would you guess that might be?
So yeah, Natanya's not there right now. Most of my crew understands, but maybe wouldn't be able to translate fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's either like asleep or on patrol or doing a thing, and I'm kind of holding down the fort by myself. And Nashik is off. The Squid Boy is in his like education pod because I've demanded that he like, no, you have to do this part.
School.
Yeah. Stay in school, kids.
Go into the gang, but you have to finish school first.
Yep. So yeah, Zen's like sign language reaction is like, how long have you been in the basement? That's a closed loop.
It's not actually closed. There's a tunnel. It's really just a maintenance corridor, but it goes through the whole neighborhood.
Okay, well. Thank you for telling me that.
You should probably know about that, yes.
I'm going to have to do something about that later. And Home, feel free to jump in like whenever you would like to have it be something other than what I said.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't mind.
Cool. You just go and I'll say, that's what it was, but a little bit.
Got it. That's so good. I love it because like the audience would have the subtitles and then the person is responding to what Home is saying.
Right.
That would be great. So I appreciate the information about our basement. Are you here just to tell me about this incursion method?
Oh no, So I've heard that you supply certain substances to Lenny. No?
Well, we transport things, and sometimes they're substances. And while they're in our possession, they're our property to do with. And so basically, we buy them from where they're coming from and sell them to Lenny at a promised amount.
So you see, like, Zen is giving this long answer, and the answer you hear is just yes.
Perfect. Those substances, would they include? I don't know, Mesmer 5, maybe.
We have some Mesmer 5. We have more 4. We see a lot of 3 and 4 come through, but we have some 5.
And let's see. Have you? No, I guess because the translation was just yes. Do you have a price that you've agreed on with Lenny?
Yeah. Hold on one second.
Sure.
Hi. Okay. So the I think it's also good that Zen's like at their great big dinner table by himself with like some like guns and stuff laid out that he'd like dismantled and was working on, and
Is the light bright still there?
Is what?
Is the light bright still there?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if Home wants to eat light bright, then that is available as a snack whenever. But the the scene is kind of like all this stuff laid out, and then Zen sort of like and crossing his legs and getting relaxed and thinking we do have a price that's arranged on. Is this something for you or resale? Because I I would alter my terms in that case.
Oh, this is just for me. I don't need the quantities that Lenny would purchase from you.
Okay. Well, it is not a problem to sell to you instead of Lenny. He'll understand.
Excellent. I'm wondering if we could work out a deal that's not necessarily for cash.
I am open to that. Now, previously, you haven't wanted to talk about mercy very much. Is that a reopened conversation?
Possibly. That would depend on the question, but it's on the table.
Well, what I'd really like to know is who Mercy will send when I challenge them.
I'm going to activate a weakness here, which is that I'm manipulative and secretive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to lie here. Because the person they're really going to send, that I think they're likely to send, is the person that I am like semi-protecting, my contact, and who I will figure out who that is and what their relationship with me is eventually. So,
and I forget, what does activating a weakness do again?
That invites a complication.
Oh, okay.
And you get a token, right?
I get a token if someone gives me a complication for it.
Oh, I've got a complication for it.
But I'll tell you that yeah. Well, they're most likely to send Helix.
Okay, I know that name. I've seen them in action a little bit, but I don't know everything. What can you tell me about Helix?
Helix is Helix is very fast. They don't look like much, but they're. I've seen them move just casually, and you want to watch their hands.
Okay.
Quick question: are the things you're saying about Helix true? Meaning you're lying about who they're going to send.
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay.
So that kind of plays into what I was thinking would be an interesting complication. And let me know if this works though, Bethany, because I don't want to undermine the weakness. You think you're lying, but because they would normally send the other person, but for some reason they have decided that they would send Helix, and you're giving like a play-by-play scouting report directly to Zen.
Mercy's gonna like figure it out.
Yeah, and we'll be like,
that's so good.
It must have been Jasper. Who else would have spilled this?
No, that is a big complication. I'll have to write it down so that
yeah. As soon as we fight and Zen is like countering Helix's every like nope, dunk. Yeah, they're gonna know that Zen got inside information for sure. I love it.
Yeah. Perfect.
And I think as this is being relayed by Jasper, I'm also recording it like on a data file for you to reference later on. So it's like all there in black and white. Well, probably like blue and black or something. Sure. Yeah.
But it's not like you don't have like a big flashing recording button, right? Like it's not obvious that you're recording. Okay.
I mean, I'm displaying it to you somewhere like more subtly that it's
okay.
Like, yeah, we've got
I know
all this.
that this
Don't
is
worry.
being recorded. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna. I don't know if this is engaging a weakness, but so Zen says that is incredibly valuable to me. And hold on, let me go. So there's like a big pile of like crates and boxes and canisters and all sorts of things, and kind of is a little like trying to hide it with his body. He's like a pretty broad-shouldered dude, so like kind of pops open one of the boxes and gets out like 3 test tubes of what does it look? What does 5 look like?
I think test tubes is probably exactly right. It's like that, like
Glowing blue, sparkly stuff.
Sure. Yes, glowing blue spark. Yeah, that sounds
okay.
Fun.
Awesome. So yeah, it's got these these like 4-inch long test tubes with rubber stoppers in them, and is kind of holding them between his fingers, like like if you had pens, like between your fingers. And he says, with his free hand, because this is a little bit difficult to talk because it's like talking with your mouth full. But holds them up. And I don't know if you've ever tried to do sign language while holding something, but it's complicated.
No, I haven't. But
he holds these up and probably actually just sets them on the table between the two of you. So I'm happy to provide this. What you just told me is maybe going to save a life. Like, I would like to fight Helix and not kill them.
That would be good. Yes.
That's not my goal. I just need this territory secured for me and my people. And I want you to know that if we can establish that, there is space for you here too, Jasper. I don't forget my friends, and I can reward loyalty.
That's good to know, as I believe I am lying.
I know. Jason knows. Zen does not.
Right.
And he just moves the 3, which is probably like 2 more than he needed to pay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Just drive that guilt in there.
Generous. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't turn this down, and this is great because this is like, this. But also, oh shit, when Zen finds out, or when it's not Helix.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah. So I think I take it, and I'm like, thank you. That's this is it's a pleasure doing business with you. And then like proceed to disappear back into the basement.
Okay. Home, we have all that on record?
I've annotated it for you.
Thank you. Please let Natanya know that Jasper has been extended an invitation to join. All I could think of is the regulators now from Fallout. That can't be it. That's terrible. I need a gang name.
Gang to be named later. An invitation. Yeah. You wouldn't need to say it. I would know it.
Yeah.
Maybe a gang name is one of the other, below rituals that you need to.
Oh yeah, you're unnamed until you're actually.
Yeah, I have to get a ring first. Yeah.
Maybe it's like a classic nickname where you don't get to choose it. Like, depending on how the fight goes, you get a name.
Oh,
maybe
that's like what? Yeah, if you win the fight, the other gang gives you a name.
Yeah. Like right now, it's just Zen's gang, and but everyone knows that's not official because that's not a real name.
Right. Yeah, I think Mercy is the name of the gang, not the person. Maybe, but
cool.
What did you say last time that was so funny about it? I don't remember.
About which?
The name of their.
Oh, Sisters of Mercy.
Sisters of Mercy. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it could be It could be all non-dudes. That might be interesting.
Yeah. Or it could be. I was gonna say it could be all dudes.
All dudes who are Sisters of Mercy. Yes, that is absolutely true.
Except Mercy.
Yeah.
And Mercy is the name of the gang leader. The rest of the gang is the Sisters of Mercy.
Yes.
She's the only woman.
And she wants to have all these dudes around.
Yep.
I love it. Are they kind of her harem?
Maybe. I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think so. And I think like I don't know how they chose that name, no, it was given to them. That's right. So they beat up someone with a sense of humor.
Yeah. Oh, maybe they didn't totally finish the person off and showed at least a little bit of mercy,
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't a lot of mercy, so it's kind of an underhanded compliment. Like,
I'm imagining how like Batman technically doesn't kill anyone; he just cripples them and ruins their lives forever and ever.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, we didn't kill you; we're being merciful. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's dark and scary.
Yeah. Cool. So I think that scene since I like disappeared into the basement.
Do you have any relationship housekeeping for that one?
I don't. I deliberately didn't reveal anything about myself. I revealed more than I thought I did, but not about myself.
Seems like your relationship changed in a fundamental way, though.
It may be related to the relationship that I have written down for Jasper, in that, you know, I respect that they stood up to us, and I don't understand their opposition. Like, only in the sense that, like, yeah, Jasper seems cool, and I still don't understand. Like, I've made an explicit invitation. Like, I don't understand why this isn't going better.
I think the fact that you so easily provided so much Mesmer 5 to reveal, like, just, oh, this information was a lot more important to you than I thought it was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I guess that actually is a revealing moment.
So how would we? How does that get marked down? Is that in the relationships boxes?
Yeah, I think we both mark a box for that then.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I like it. For Jasper. Yep.
Cool. Somewhere in there's a list of like. There's a good list in here somewhere of like scenes and like how to. Oh, here we go. There are like 4 different. So, is there something that obviously burningly must happen in the next scene? I don't think really. So,
for my sake, I just really want to see Hallows get the thing that she was after, because that was a really cool story.
Yeah. Okay. So I think there is then. Yeah. Let's see what Hallows does with this.
So this would be me going to Myerscough, trying to pretend to be. I was going for Lenny, but then trying to like get a side job as a tailor. Okay.
A thought also. Maybe maybe I pulled in Zen to be like muscle. I don't know, like, obviously you're a former warlord, you're pretty tough. Like, is it clear to me that you can defend yourself? Is that something I would know, or have you kept that back?
I think you might suspect just based on like the people I come from, but I think my appearance is concealed armor,
Right.
And kind of concealment and stealth. So I think I might also look more scrawny than you would expect, you know, a warrior to look. So maybe you haven't seen me in action in any way.
Got it. So did maybe, and also this is definitely sort of an interaction that Zen has an interest in, because it's the acquisition of that signet ring.
Mm-hmm.
So does it make sense to pull Zen into the scene also, or did you want to just do it with you in the end? And I guess we're all players here, and the other character and the Mercy Cough.
I like the idea of Zen coming along, and okay. I don't know if home is pretty much everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Zen would want home kind of coming in for that, like surveillance or info.
I don't know if Zen can stop home from doing that. Yeah, I'd be happy to have Zen there. I just wasn't sure if like Lenny suggesting you need backup would either be like offensive or you would just like fake it or like, oh yeah, I need backup. Like, I was curious to see your reaction to, maybe suggesting that there's backup.
Yeah, I think so. My relationship idea is that I think Zen needs to be mentored and then will be a good warrior.
Okay.
So maybe I'm like a little offended by the idea that I need backup, but I'm like, oh no, this will be a good chance to show Zen how you use intimidation and force appropriately.
That's beautiful.
I love it. That's really good. Everyone needs a mentor. That's good. It's healthy.
All right, let me see. So, am I the one who frames the scene, or how does that work?
Well, I'm not sure.
I don't think there are actually like specific rules about who.
I think. Wait. Okay. So do you take turns being? Okay. So the focal character, which in this case would be Hallows, rotates, but the scene framer is just it's just as an appropriate person. So maybe someone with a relevant situation, which would be
Might be you with the above.
I think that's probably the closest. Yeah, even though this isn't the
We can spitball stuff too.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like it's all on you.
I think culture has some cool opportunities there, but I wouldn't want to like sort of self-aggrandize myself into that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the nice thing about the situations is that like you establish things by asking questions anyway. So.
Oh yeah, there's just some cool stuff about like rumors and gossip and social rules and all that in the community section.
Oh, and that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, can maybe build it from both.
Mm-hmm.
Also, deviants, dissenters, nonconformists, all that stuff is like, we're definitely going against the status quo here, trying to steal this dude's ring or whoever, maybe not dude, but like, yeah, we're breaking some social norms.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I want to say that the aristocrats live in like, it's literally above the below, but below the above. So it's like
meaning the below aristocrats, like the ones who are slumming it down here, or all of them.
Yeah. No, just the below aristocrats. I think there's a layer that's like it's like houses attached to the ceiling and sort of like hanging down.
And they look down on us.
Balcony at the bottom. So that like they're anchored to the ceiling, but the ground is just like a little like metal balcony around the bottom where they can like go out and look down.
Oh,
below.
I love it.
It's like that balcony has this very I say like what's the word, like what is it called? It's a sort of ornate metal scroll work,
It'd be cool if it's like the cleanest thing in the below, like it's this shining, like everything's serviced and shiny and clean up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not as nice as the above, but it's nicer than the below. It's this weird middle layer that's just attached to the level in between.
Yeah.
I think you'd probably have to get there I don't know, how do you have to get there?
That's awesome.
Or like a bridge or something?
A bridge, an elevator, a flying thing.
I think maybe they have some kind of hovering vehicle.
Yeah, they'd want to control the access.
Yeah. But maybe there are bridges. And I'm picturing like, have you ever been on one of those like swinging or bouncing suspension bridges that like they're just like wooden and they're about one person wide?
Yeah,
they're like that.
Cool.
But it's like metal cables instead of and instead of wood. But
And when the aristocrats leave, they just get in hover cars and come down. But like if you want to go up to see them, you have to like take your life into your own hands.
yes, so they can see you coming. Like it's defensible for them.
Yeah, that's awesome and terrible. I love it.
Had a thought about this mercy cough. So I think their maybe their first name is Lyso or Lysto, something like that. And they're a gelatinous cube person.
Would
Right.
that be known, or would that be like a surprise?
I think it would be known. Like I think that there's all kinds of different humanoid and non-humanoid life forms on this station, and this is one of them. But I just like the idea of like of trying to somehow or another take a signet ring from a gelatinous cube creature. I think like the visual of that is cool. Like where do they keep it? Is it like in their person? Is it like are there pouches? Is there like a
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's cool.
Kind of complicates that.
Maybe different members of the family are like slightly different shades of blue and green, and most people think they look similar to each other. That could be fun.
I like it. Also because I think it'll complicate what Hallows was planning. So just kind of to set it as we're going up the bridge, like Zen wants the ring. I said I'd get the ring for Lenny, but I want to kidnap a Myers cough. Which is now a gelatinous cube.
I think you'd need to prepare ahead of time for something like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Are you telling Zen ahead of time that we're doing a kidnapping, or is this like a spur of the moment thing? Okay, got it.
No, I think for Zen, like if maybe we're talking as we're like crossing this really swingy bridge, and I'm like clutching onto the railing and maybe looking like under my gold skin a little pale. And I'm just telling you, so this is a very important trade deal. When you're making important trade deals, you need to just slam their door open and awe them from the moment. So I want you to, since this is going to be your first trade deal, I want you to have a very powerful speech ready to just overwhelm them with what we can give them. Is that something you can do?
I can make an impressive showing, certainly, with Natanya's help.
Excellent. And I imagine, like, since I'm carrying, it was fruit, right, and fabric. So there's also this sort of balancing act of holding on to like some fruit and like some rolls of fabric that I'm trying to carry.
Yeah. How many of my gang would be okay to be here? Or are you trying to keep it real small?
I think I'd leave that up to you.
Because we could have some of them carrying stuff if that's if you like that sort of thing.
I like that. It'd be a nice like entourage.
Okay. Cool.
So as we approach like the end of the bridge, what would we see, or who would meet us there?
Maybe one of these hovering vehicles has been like going alongside you and keeping watch on you the whole time.
Is it like a cube security guard inside the vehicle?
I don't know. Maybe they hire like. Where would they hire people from? That would like that they would trust to be loyal to them.
Could be anything. It's could be local mercenaries or hold on, sorry.
They certainly wouldn't have, if they're wealthy, they wouldn't have any trouble finding someone. Is it just a question of?
I don't know. Like it seems like maybe there would be a place that was kind of like the standard place that aristocrats get their bodyguards, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they get people from the Bounty Hunters Guild, or it's like the mercenary / Bounty Hunters Guild.
Oh, if I invoke a weakness, how does that work? Like, what do I get for that?
Somebody causes trouble for you, and you get a token if they do.
I mean, if we're saying that there's this guard following us, I am hunted by deadly enemies, so if they're like
recognizes you, or
yeah,
at least, your people like knows what species you are.
Oh yeah. Maybe it's not this is the deadly enemy, but like the guard knows,
right? And they're gonna inform your deadly enemy. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's one of these people down there.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So I guess when we get to the end of the bridge, are we able to just walk up to the house, or?
Yeah, I would. I think like maybe the vehicle lands on that, like on the balcony, and like as you're getting to the house, people get out and like escort you maybe.
Do they make slurping sounds when they move?
Maybe one of them is. Yeah, I was thinking like not all of them are gelatinous cube people.
Oh,
like,
I see. Yeah, okay.
Maybe one of them is.
Yeah, just one to keep track of everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. I think heading up here, Zen was vaguely aware that like, yeah, these guys hire bounty guards and mercenaries and that sort of thing. And so Zen has like a scarf wrapped around his like lack of nose and mouth, but he still has a big blue bald head and his like bug eyes and his like four-fingered hand. Like, he's really obvious who he is, and there aren't that many of his people around. We had established that at some point, that it's a really relatively small population of his type. So I don't know. I think he thinks, yeah, this is a pretty good disguise. They're not going to recognize me, but that's not exactly what's going to happen.
That's great.
And yeah, that's all for now.
So I think I have a question for Home. Do you have access to these, like in between places?
Indirectly, yeah, I think like routed through another network, but it is not. I am much diminished in my capabilities here, so it's kind of like I'm trying to run surveillance, and in fact,
is there another like household AI here?
Yeah, there's a much better one.
Okay.
That actually works.
It is rogue AI. It like actually does its job, and yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm kind of riding on its rails a little bit here. Like I can get in a smidgen. And in fact, I would warn. Oh, actually, I don't have really a relationship with Hallows, so I don't know that I would warn her. So it'd probably be Zen saying, I can't tell what it was, but there was some sort of urgent, like priority 1 communication sent out however many milliseconds ago that seems to be describing your party.
Okay. I'll sign, because I know it's Home. I'll gesture to Natanya not to translate for everyone around, and I'll just sign for Home that they're probably just being wary of this trader group coming up to do business with them, because we look pretty dangerous. We have weapons. I try to assure Home that this is fine. Everything's fine.
I really enjoy the idea that Natasha, or Natanya does not understand when to translate or not, and just says everything. I know she's much more clever than that. I'm just picturing Ron Burgundy reading the teleprompter, like whatever you do, she just says.
I think she's a little sharper than a Ron Burgundy, but there could definitely be misunderstandings of when she's supposed to translate and when not to. Because it just
Misunderstanding
becomes so
biologicals is me.
yeah.
Oh
so
yeah, just automatic.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the I don't know if anyone's watching the Dragon Prince, but there's a cool warrior in that who speaks in sign language, and the guy who translates is like realizes she's talking about him at one point. It was a really cute scene. He's like, "Oh, she means to me." So yeah, I guess we. All right. So Hallows, you want me to just sort of burst in there and let them know what the deal is? Is that the plan here?
Yes, I want you to burst in and announce that we have come with goods from Lenny, and we want to offer them many special deals. But you wanna make that sound very powerful. You want to command their attention, so they cannot look away.
Let them know that it's their privilege that we're here.
Yes, a blessing,
Okay.
as my people would say.
Ah, okay. Well, all right then. And I think Zen just turns and heads up to the doors. I love the image of him like picking up his foot to kick them open, and then the doors are being opened from the inside. Well, hey, it's like claps his hands and tries to get everyone's attention, and is signing very vigorously as Natania's raising her voice next to him. You have been blessed with the goods delivered from Lenny via these merchants. You are lucky to receive us, and we will do business now.
I think the trade delegation reacts exactly as they should to that speech.
Oh, I was going to say nobody's even there. It's just like the household AI answers. Because they open, like, the household AI opened the door, and like the people aren't even in that room. But like they can hear it, right? Because I'm sure that the AI relays it to them, but like you don't see their reaction at all.
Oh no,
they're gelatinous cube people.
I think what I would want to do is, while Zen is sort of making that speech, I would want to be seen through the area to see if there's any way for me to slip away while people are distracted by it.
Nice.
And
are you spending a token on that, or?
So if I use a token with the strength, does that mean it just kind of happens?
Yep. You just you decide what happens. There's no complications. You just do it.
So I think I'd like to use a token to use stealthy. So I imagine maybe like Zen finishes the speech, is being sort of stared at by this AI, maybe looks over to find me for direction, and I'm just gone.
Okay, well, Natania, Diego, let's go in and find where everybody is. So yeah, we'll just go, we'll pick up all the stuff that we're carrying and try to explore and actually like speak to the house computer. I don't know if I'm speaking to home or not, but like the delegation from Lenny, where should we go in the house?
And like a door just opens on the other side of the room.
That works. And we'll head off in that direction.
Cool. I think they are like in the next room, and they're just like, you get there, and they're all gelatinous cube people.
Just slurping around.
Yeah. Like a whole family. Actually, you know what? You maybe can't tell how many of them there are. If they're standing close together, they just kind of like...
Yeah.
Stick together, and like, it's hard to tell.
But maybe there's some little ones like hopping around. And
number one, this is awesome. Number two, question for what this means in terms of, because the way we talked about this, right? Like it was like individual members of these like aristocratic houses that get sent down here. So is it like one of these person, the aristocratic Myerscough, and the other are like their like retainers and like various different.
Yeah, I would think so. That the aristocrat doesn't live here by itself.
Right. No, for sure.
Yeah. So you maybe don't know which one is the Lysto, or maybe they're a different color. Maybe you would know.
Yeah, maybe there has to be some distinguishing feature because they are,
I'll bet the aristocrats have a thing where like the gelatinous aristocrats have a thing where like they dye themselves particular colors.
Oh yeah, totally.
There's a fad to like turn yourself purple or something.
Yeah, I like it.
It could be something as simple as either like the signet ring or maybe like the dyeing thing. Like they dye the pattern of their house like in 3 dimensions into their.
Oh, cool! Like a 3-dimensional tattoo, kind of.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, it's like that plastic stuff that people actually, that's a pretty obscure reference. That probably won't make any sense. But they inject little, like, it's almost like a glowing plastic stuff into like salamander skin to like mark a salamander.
Cool.
And
all right,
I'm picturing that stuff.
That's obscure but awesome.
Yeah. The family, symbol.
There's also a new kind of 3D printer that focuses various like UV lights into resin and builds a structure inside the liquid wherever the lights cross. It's intense enough to cure the resin. Maybe they can cure part of their insides to have solid shapes in there.
That is perfect. Yes.
All right. But then I gestured to Natanya, like, can you just say what I said before? and she like repeats the whole speech, and I just go, yeah. Well, my body language says, yeah, that.
So here's a question: do these people talk? Maybe the household AI has to translate it for them.
Yeah, they have like a vibration frequency or
like chemicals that they kind of release.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the household AI, does their talking for them, at least, when they're inside this building. And so I think when Natanya repeats what you said before, they say, yes, your message has been transmitted to us.
Boy, I'm kind of like looking around for where Hallows went. Like, it's really hard to intimidate people through 3 layers of translation. Well, we understand you would like to buy some of these things from us, and we would like to do business. Now, out of character, I forget. Were we? What was the total cover story? Like, we were going to come here and just sell them this stuff for money?
Oh yeah, that is basically the cover story that you're like, and it's a cover that also happens to be true. I will be very, very upset if this deal does not go the way I want it. And
then if I have the opportunity, try and grab a ring, or is that like?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. Like, this is maybe between you and Hallows a little bit, right? Like, I think you both like. I asked Hallows to get the ring. It's for you, and you presumably know that's why you're here, also. But like, like there's a reason. Like, she was on point because it seemed as if she was like you're a known quantity.
Yeah.
And so like she could have like a little bit more something there. Have a little bit more weight as like a disinterested broker.
Yeah.
That was the cover.
I like that. Okay. Well, I'm not sure how to resolve this conflict.
Could ask a question.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, my scrutiny list has interesting questions too. Do I need to? I need to spend a token to use my scrutiny questions, right?
You can ask them. If you spend a token, you'll get a straightforward answer. Otherwise, you'll get a true but vague, or it cannot be a straightforward answer. I guess it can't just be like a lie. But
can't you like use it in combination with a weakness to like have a bad answer, like a straightforwardly like answer that is put your character in an uncomfortable position?
I don't remember that, but it certainly makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think my weaknesses apply to this exact situation, but I do want to ask a question. I don't have any tokens, but I'm gonna ask wait, well, how are you vulnerable to me right now in that I'm looking around for, like, is there a signet ring laying around? Is there, like some version of the thing that I'm looking for? Using all of my resources, getting my gang members looking around. If I can try to gesture to home, like, hey, by the way, if you see this thing laying around in the house somewhere, like, that's really what we're trying to get. So yeah, that's my question, but it is problematic because I don't have a token. How are you vulnerable to me right now, cube people?
So they use signet rings to sign things, right? So they would need to have it like handy, even if they personally couldn't possibly like have it on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's like it's on a desk or something next to, whatever they would use to send the message, right?
Oh.
Like it's just to them, it's just a writing tool.
I love it. Okay, well, what I want to try and do is have my gang members kind of start presenting the materials, like, look at this fabric that we brought and this fruit, and what price do you think would be, like, it's easier for Natanya to do those like quick back and forth conversations because I have to do extra translations, and she knows how to handle that kind of negotiation. And so Zen is kind of like watching this conversation happen, like, yep, I'm in charge and I'm doing a good job, but he's actually like trying to sidle over to that desk and see if he can't scoop up a ring, but subtly.
Are you
So I have a question. If I want my character to re-enter the scene, can I just kind of describe that, or would there be something we need to resolve sort of in between?
I think you could just re-enter it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already here in this house.
Because I think it'd be interesting to see if you're sort of like sidling over to that.
Yeah.
Maybe you see me sneaking in through like the side servant entrance, and I'm holding a I don't think I could have hidden like a whole bowl, but like maybe I'm holding a jar and you can see me sort of unscrewing the top. And my eyes are just fixed on the cube with like the symbol in it. And maybe you recognize, like, because I've worked for you before, I'm like in assassin hunting mode, just staring at that cube.
Okay. So yeah, I sort of interrupt the, going for the ring, turn, and it's not like a judgmental way, but like a fact of the matter, like, is this an elimination? But I don't know if you know sign language, and Natanya's busy, so.
I think.
Would I know that?
Though.
What?
I think there needs to be a complication with that, right? Okay. Yeah. I think this is when the household AI greets you. Welcome.
Here, maybe I'll.
Would they greet you by name, do you think, or just
Well, I mean, he did have a like legal identity and still has that, because he was he was a legal member of the Bounty Hunters Guild.
Oh, I mean Hallows.
Yeah.
Hallows. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because
I think
trying to sneak in.
Because I think it would be my warlord name. So I think like Hallows is my like on the run name, but maybe like the AI is advanced enough to recognize like my face profile and like find the file on the warlord. Let me get something real quick. Okay, that's way too pretty, so I'm gonna go with it. The warlord Seraphina.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, well, welcome, Warlord Seraphina. What is your purpose here?
And I think what I would want to do is like do a war cry and try and pounce on the gelatinous cube with my jar, trying to like scoop at least part of it up into it.
Do you think, I'm going to ask a question here. Do you think that the people from above hanging out here, the Myers-Coughs and minions would recognize that name? Like, were you sufficiently high profile? Or will they just sort of recognize, oh, you're a warlord from such and such a planet, and that's...
I think I'd be known as the betrayer, or like, yeah. So maybe like it was enough of a disgrace that they recognized just like Seraphina the betrayer.
Oh shit.